Our next presentation is on the role of RJC in silver supply chain and importance of recycled silver. Taking up this presentation for us shall be Mr. Kinjal Shah, a seasoned professional with over 25 years of experience in compliance across multiple industries, including more than 2 decades in the gem and jewellery sector. Playing a key role at the Responsible Jewellery Council, he drives awareness, engagement, and membership growth across India and the Middle East, while strengthening the organization's relevance in key global markets. Ladies and gentlemen, I hand over the podium to Mr. Kinjal Shah.
Thank you very much, Eventel. Your support has been always there, and I really admire and appreciate your contribution to the industry. With no further delay, let me just go through what I'm here to communicate to you today. So my name is Kinjal Shah. I head Responsible Jewellery Council for Asia and Middle East. And very proudly, Eventel is also one of the supporter member of Responsible Jewellery Council. And they always endorse RJC in their all of their events. And I'm really obliged that, I'm happy that I'm here today talking about something which is, of course, RJC is doing and playing a major role. So who are we? We are Responsible Jewellery Council. We were formed 21 years ago with 14 founding members. And today we are proudly 2,000 plus members across the globe in around 73 countries. And what we do is that we just endorse ethical business practices across this jewellery and watch supply chain. Our standards basically applies to 5 streams, starting with diamond, gold, silver, platinum metal, and in color stone, it applies to emerald, ruby, and sapphire at this point in time. We have a very strict governance system under which we revise our standard on a regular basis, every 5 years basis. The recent revision was, the last revision was in 2025. Which has covered lab-grown diamonds and lab-grown material in our standards. These are a few of our founding members. So it clearly appears that the leaders of the world, including a lot of our Indian brains, thought of coming up with something which eventually will be very important for the consumer confidence. And that's where in 2005, we came up with Responsible Jewellery Council standard. What we do is that we have created ethical business practices standards, and these standards are basically voluntary standards which members, those who join us, adhere to those standards and apply those standards in their organization, which eventually undergo third-party independent verification. And I must say, it's not easy to comply with. I'm really very proud that in last panel, there were 2 of the panelists were members of Responsible Jewellery Council. And it was very easily evident that those who are more focused in exports, they have very clearly said that, it is kind of really mandate for them to become a member under Responsible Jewellery Council. We have this mission and vision. So, of course, we have the standards through which we are creating consumer confidence. And our standard is the only standard across the world which applies to from mines to retail. So anyone and everyone in the supply chain of those 5 elements, 5 products, can be a part of RJC membership. So what we have 3 standards at this point in time. Code of Practices, which is mandatory standard. LGMS, which was recently launched, which is only focusing on lab-grown materials. So it's not only diamonds, but also if there are lab-grown color stones, it has to be part of this. These 2 standards are mandatory standards. And another standard with this chain of custody. Chain of custody is a voluntary standard about which I'm going to communicate to you today much in detail. Of course, RJC is international standard, so we have taken care of the major important challenges across the globe. Our standards, each and every provisions are interlinked with the Sustainable Development Goals. And when you comply with or implement RJC standards, ultimately by default, you are complying with Sustainable Development Goals. And every country has different way of communicating this. Like in Thailand, Thailand government is more talking about BCG economy and less about sustainable development goals. So BCG economy is also can also be part of RJC. When you are implementing RJC, you're by default complying with BCG economy as well. Recycle gold. So recycle gold is basically critically important. Today I'm going to talk to you about recycle gold and chain of custody, which is commonly referred as COC. When we are talking about COC, when you implement COC, if you have not only silver, but if you have gold or platinum metal in your supply chain, that will be by default part of your COC implementation. And COC only applies to metal. In order to apply chain of custody, it is mandatory first for any member to comply with code of practices, because code of practices is mandatory. And then only you can comply with COC standards. The most important thing is that you become a member only once, and then you have access to all these 3-4 standards. So it is not like that you're becoming member with COP, you're implementing COP, and then when you're going for COC, you have to pay extra charges or no. It is all, in one go, you have access to all the standards, and then you have to comply with those standards. So the COC sets out the requirement of creating a clear and credible chain of custody for precious metal that responsibly produced, processed, and traced throughout the jewelry and watch supply chain. That's the motto. The standard covers gold, silver, and platinum metal, as I've said already, not diamonds and color stone at this point in time. We are very particular. We cannot claim anything and everything. We can claim only which we can cover under our code of practices and chain of custody. COP also defines how companies should handle and trade the gold and silver and platinum metal, group metals. The way implements a clear management system that ensures segregation of responsibly sourced COC material. COC can only be achieved if you have sourced your material from the COC sources. This means the material can be traced throughout every stage of your supply chain. We have a few companies sitting in the audience. They are also COC compliant, and you can always go on the RJC website and have a look at the list, those who are all COC compliant, and also along with recycled gold and recycled silver. The RJC chain of custody means we feel why one should do COC. What is the point of doing COC? So that's what I can say. The RJC chain of custody gives consumer and suppliers a confidence in how product and material have been sourced, traced, and processed. That's critically important. It's not only your product quality, it's not only your surveys, it's not only your business terms, but because the way now consumers are asking more questions to the stakeholders, to the interested parties, these are very important elements that eventually you will have to communicate. And as of now, internationally, all the top brands, they have been very wisely communicating this and leading the way. All the way from mines to finds to retail. It acts as a point of differentiation, adding value to the jewelry product, while also helping product and strengthen the jewelry brand. Like, I'm sure a lot of from you knows that there are a lot of silver companies, major silver brands. They now only mandate recycled silver jewelry, and they are very proudly selling their silver jewelry with the claim that it is from the recycled silver, and they are really claiming premiums on that, and consumers are very easy and very happy to pay that premium to the retailers. Similarly, I can name with Prada, when they have started the gold jewelry in 2021, they have announced from the day one that we are only going to source our product from the recycle metal, and that to only RJC certified members. And they have been doing it very wisely. This is critically important. So now we feel like why COC and what COC will help, how I can become a COC compliant. So the COC has 3 eligible sources. First is legitimate sources like, legit sources, grandfather gold, mined gold, and recycled gold. When it comes to COC material, there are 3 accepted sources of COC, which is waste, pre-consumer, and post-consumer, which is like obvious. If you are sourcing for recycle, claiming recycle, you have to have, your material should be falling in any of these 3 criteria. These 3 criteria are very well defined and detailed in our code of practices and chain of custody guidelines of RJC, and if you want more details, I can always provide to you. So this is how I can say one can source chain of custody, COC, or recycle gold or recycle silver, and then eventually when you are running in your supply chain, in your business conducts, you also have to have clear traceability of your product within your organization, how you are treating it, how you are dealing it, and when you are selling it, through which you can clearly demand premium to your clients, and you can claim that this particular product or this piece or ornament is made by recycled gold or recycled silver. Now, why recycling? Why recycling is important? So, as everyone, we know that in today's time, everyone is more concerned about carbon footprint, how we are creating, how much carbon footprint when we are doing our business, when we are living in our normal life. So when you are doing your business with a recycled product, ultimately you are creating less carbon footprint compared to when you are making your jewelry from the mined sources. That's what the logic is. And because of that, because if you are not mining or if you are not sourcing from the mine, then you can easily comply with your carbon footprint categorization on scope number 1 and scope number 2. You don't have to even go to scope number 3 because you are not sourcing from any mined sources. So in very technical language, when you are claiming carbon footprint mechanism and when you are measuring it with scope number 1 and scope number 2, you can clearly say, now I am completely net zero in my business conducts. You don't have to go to step number 3 because you are not sourcing from the mined sources. So that's, I guess, very important for as far as recycle gold and recycle silver is concerned. We have several steps for members to join. I'm not going into that. If you need more details, you can always ask me. There is my QR code. You can always reach out to me, or Mr. Vatsa also have my details. And I guess this is very brief. If there are any questions, I can take it.
No questions.